Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Ramkrishna Forgings Q3 earnings conference call. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Basudev Banerjee from ICICI Securities. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thanks, Aman, and thanks to management of Ramkrishna Forgings for giving us the opportunity to host the Q3 fiscal 22 conference result con call. I'd like to invite Mr. Naresh Jalan, Managing Director of Ramkrishna Forging, and Mr. Lalit Khetan, Chief Financial Officer of Ramkrishna Forging, to give initial comments on results and then go with the Q&A. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Vasudev. Good evening and a very warm welcome to everyone present on the call. Along with me, I am Mr. Naresh Jalan, our Managing Director, Mr. Chaitanya Jalan, our Whole-Time Director, and Mr. Rajesh Mundra, Company Secretary, and SGA, our Investor Relation Advisors. Hope you all have received our investor presentation by now. For those who have not, you can view them on the stock exchanges and the company website. We hope and pray that you and your loved ones are safe, healthy, and secure. We hope you all are following the best safety protocols and staying safe from this pandemic. I would like to start my opening remarks with key business highlights for the quarter. During the quarter, we managed to receive contracts worth rupees 220 crores from 6 contracts from various geographies and for different business verticals. These orders include an LOI for front axle beams, which is a new business addition. Also during the quarter, one of the leading European OEMs in the mining and earth-moving industry has approved our new Jamshedpur fabrication facility, which will result in start of serial production in that facility. This facility has enabled us to expand our presence in the railway sector, which is an important component of our sector diversification strategy. We are in continuous discussion with domestic and international customers for further orders. To deepen our reach and strengthen the customer relationship, we have opened new offices in South America, Russia, and 2 more offices in Europe. These new offices, in addition to our existing offices in United States, Mexico, and Turkey, will enable us to pursue our strategy of increasing our exports business more rigorously. Overall, we have a strong inflow of orders, and with new capacity commissioned during last quarter, we are very well placed to convert these orders to revenue, which would lead to improvement in operating leverage as well as profitability. With a strong demand, improved capacity utilization, the addition of new contracts, and disciplined cash management would help us generate adequate cash flow and help us to be debt-free in next 3 years' time. We are continuously working to reduce the risk of our product portfolio by diversifying across segments, customers, and geographies. During the quarter, we added customers from various segments and geography and also signed an MOU with E-Propelled USA to capture the growth in EV segment. Highlight for the quarter is our foray into EV space. We signed MOU with E-Propelled to manufacture their patented dynamic torque switching TM, that is EDTS technology. This technology will offer India's light EV manufacturers on an innovative energy-saving solution for the rapidly growing e-mobility market. According to the terms of the agreement, we will both collaborate on the development of e-axle products based on E-Propell's patented dynamic torque switching EDTS technology, which increases power efficiency by at least 15%, allowing manufacturers to reduce the size and cost of their battery pack. On the sustainability front, we have hired PwC during the quarter to assist us in integrating and implementing our ESG roadmap. Our ESG commitment will be reflected in our business practices, which will be environmentally and socially responsible and will be supported by strong corporate governance and lead to long-term business sustainability. We are also working towards increasing automation and incorporating latest technology into our manufacturing process. A step in that direction is the implementation of Industry 4.0 at our manufacturing unit. We are targeting that within the next 1 year, all our manufacturing units will be Industry 4.0 compliant. I would also like to highlight that recently we have been awarded the prestigious Overall Supplier Excellence for HR Engineering Components Award for the year 2021 at Volvo HR Commercial Vehicles Suppliers Conference. This award reflects our commitment to customer satisfaction and our focus on quality. Even though the pandemic situation remains uncertain, the robust demand in the domestic market and our export push gives us confidence that we will do well in the future. The high global demand for Indian-made components combined with the emphasis on EV has created a slew of opportunities for component manufacturers like us. Our components have been well accepted by the global OEMs and we have started growing our business with them. The automotive industry is heading into 2022 with a positive attitude in its pursuit of pre-pandemic level of sales volume and having laid a solid foundation in 2021. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. First question is on the line of Abhishek Jain from Dolat Capital. Please go ahead.
Thanks for opportunity and congrats for a strong set of numbers. Sir, in last quarter you had a higher than normal inventory that was lying at your warehouses as material was not pulled by the customer due to the semiconductor issue. This quarter also semiconductor supply challenges continued. And your 9-month FY22 production was 35% higher than the sales, despite the impressive dispatches in export. So just wanted to understand your strategy behind this of building high inventory. Are you expecting sudden ramp up in demand? That's why the inventory has gone up significantly.
Basically, Abhishek, we are working with our export customers on daily basis because of the semiconductor issues in terms of building inventories in warehouses. And I think we are seeing green shoots in the semiconductor issue and pull from the customer end. Because of the logistics delay, which is going, right now the logistic is a very big issue in terms of dispatches from India to Europe or North America. So considering that, we are working with the customers to build inventory in the warehouse so that as and when the semiconductor issue is resolved and the demand is there, we don't get stuck with their shipments.
So what is the inventory level now? Is it higher than the normal and can it impact your numbers in the coming quarter?
I think in last 6 months, first 6 months there was a higher level, but in last 3 months we have been able to liquidate some of the inventory, and in this quarter there will be a significant inventory reduction both in plant as well as the customer end.
But this quarter is also the production is much higher than the sales. So most probably the inventory will happen again.
I am talking about the current quarter.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. And so is there any risk related with the inventory built up because of this change in the prices, because that commodity prices has almost topped out? So going ahead, if prices goes down,
I don't think commodity prices have topped up. Commodity prices are pretty stable, and we don't expect any major downturn in the commodity prices.
Okay. Sir, despite the stable commodity prices, export realization has improved 5% quarter on quarter. Is it because of the high utilization of the heavy press line and geography mix, means higher revenue from the Europe in this quarter?
Export realization is static. It's almost static, Abhishek. Last quarter Q2 and Q3 export realization is almost at 227,000 tons.
Okay, sir. 227. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But as per our calculation, it is coming 251,000 because we are including this.
ocean freight realized from the customer, that has to be excluded from the purpose of calculating realization per ton. 24 crore we have realized on account of ocean freight during the quarter. If you reduce that, that realization up to 2,27,000 rupees per ton.
So it means the change in the realization because of the change in the freight rate during this quarter.
No, so we always calculate the realization without freight. So what extra freight we are getting from the customers on account of increase in freight, that we are excluding for the calculating per ton realization. So that's why you will see there is a consistent realization from the last quarter. We are almost near to last quarter realization only.
Okay, sir. Sir, I had a next question on the non-auto side. We have seen a significant jump in the FD contribution in 9 months, and now it is about 20% of the total sales. So what is the status in terms of the different segment? You had also mentioned that you had won a large order in oil and gas segment for US and Dubai. So what is the quantum order? When have you started supply? That's why that non-auto segment revenue has jumped this in last 9 months. Hello.
Abhishek,
Yeah.
oil and gas, like whatever order wins have been there, they are going to get into serial production only in the next financial year. We have sent samples, they are on field trials and other things. It's going to convert into major sales only in the next financial year.
So what is the reason of the jump in the non-auto side contribution? That is around 20% in last 9 months.
No, basically existing components have started, which were developed previously and were not on non-moving side, have started moving, and because of the crude pricing, the demand is back in the oil and gas segment.
Okay. So this revenue is you are getting from the oil and gas segment only, not from the
No, oil and gas segment we are getting, and we are getting from the earth moving equipment segment.
earth moving equipment. So what is your revenue guidance for the non-auto side in the next financial year in FY23?
I think FY23 is still to come. We will wait for some time before we give any FY23 guidance.
Okay. Sir, my last question is related with the tax rate that has gone up to 35%. So just wanted to know what would be the effective tax rate in the coming years, I mean to FY23-24. That will be quite helpful for us.
Abhishek, FY22-23, we are carrying right now some MAT credit, which will be utilized fully. Then we will shift to the 25% tax rate. That is sometime in FY23-24.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. That's all from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mitul Shah from Reliance Securities. Please go ahead.
Sir, thank you for giving me this opportunity and congratulations for strong performance all around. Sir, my question is pertaining to conversion of this production volume to the finished products, which appears to be very high on a Q-on-Q basis. For example, last quarter our production were close to 37,000 tons and we sold around 29,000 tonnage. Whereas in this quarter our production is around close to 34,000, whereas sales is 29,000. So if I do that match conversion of whatever we produce and the finished goods sales, it comes to 85% compared to last quarter 73%. So of course there would be some inventory adjustment also. But is there any benefit or any coming from the change of process or product mix, anything on this?
No, I think there is no change in product mix or anything. We had consciously built inventory in previous quarters, looking into the spurt in demand, both in export and domestic. And from the third quarter onwards, we have started reducing inventory in a strategic manner, along with discussions with our key buyers. And you will see significant reduction. What you are seeing right now from 73 or it has moved to 85%. You will see further improvement in this quarter.
So Q4 that number could be even higher than 85%.
Yes.
Is what
Yes.
But on a steady state basis, after say maybe 1 or 2 quarter, once the inventory normalizes, what should be this conversion range for say FY23?
It should be around 85 to 87%.
Okay. And the second question is on outlook on this North America truck side, as majority of these customers generally indicate at the beginning of calendar years indication about the CY22. So what is the reading from their discussion?
No, presently, if you see the order backlog is very huge. And as and when this order book, this chip conductor issue is resolved, we will see a sudden spurt in dispatches and equally demand. Right now there is a demand, but there is no point booking orders wherein there is no clarity of delivery. That's the reason when you see the Class 8 numbers in first week of every month, they are not very encouraging, only because there is a huge backlog in the system because of this semiconductor issue, and that's the reason demand is not reflecting. But we are expecting from February onwards, the semiconductor issues should get partially resolved, wherein you will start seeing from March onward numbers, encouraging numbers in Class 8 orders book.
Generally, so it should be 1 to 2 months effect in terms of our getting orders and delivery to their production. So we get at least intimation 2 months before. So right now,
No,
that
we
means
have-
if you are indicating March as a normal, so you are getting good orders.
We are
currently.
already started seeing green shoots in the pipeline, and we expect that this whole year, calendar year 22, should be equally good as calendar year 21 was.
So in other words, then what could be the loss of business to in terms of volume to us in this 9 months, which may get spilled over to next financial year because of the semiconductor thing?
No, I don't think there is any loss to us in terms of finances. Our exports, if you see our exports in the last quarter also has been encouraging. And for the whole year, we are close to around much above the guidance. We had in the year starting looked at exports of 850 to 900 crores, and I think we are well above, nearing the target of 900 plus crores of exports for the full year. We, as per business plan, I don't think we are making any loss of business.
So my question is in the sense that whatever loss to these customers, your customer OEMs, in terms of a loss of production due to semiconductor, so what they could have made which didn't happen because of the semiconductor, which can go to next year?
I cannot predict what my customer has done in terms of their balance sheet or what losses they have made. I can predict only as per my requirement. I don't see any downtick in the requirements or offtake which customer buys from me. So I will not be able to more elaborate that what customer loss has been or what customer has made losses. These things I don't go and ask customers for this.
So I'm coming from purely from the volume point of view, that what volume we can see as an extra volume in this calendar year, which didn't happen last year.
Vis-a-vis last year, what I can say basically, we should expect a similar export volumes in North America. What we have done in the last year should reflect in the current year in the same volumes.
Yeah, sir, that is helpful. And sir, on the LCV side, if you can throw some more light, what is our now current status in terms of contribution as well as market share gain? Or
gradually growing for us. We are making big inroads into LCV market, and that is the reason LCV market is more predictable and stable, and that's the reason our exports are not falling and we are doing considerably well. We have also opened a new geography in LCV in Russia, and I think we are doing pretty well. We have our field trials are over, and last quarter we dispatched close to 3 containers worth of material, which was worth about 3.5 to 4 crore rupees to Russia also.
And sir, lastly on railway side. Hello.
Railways have started opening up, and we are seeing I think this quarter onwards we should start seeing good order uptick for railways. I think we should be back to normal in doing close to around 3.5 to 4 crore per month business in railways. And from first quarter of next financial year, I think we should at least double what we are doing currently.
Okay, that's good number, sir. And sir, just last clarification or more detail, if you can help us with this PwC helping us on ESG side. So can you give more details on this, and what is this Industry 4 compliant thing which we highlighted in our PPT as well as press release?
Abhishek, this PwC is right now evaluating the ESG target for the company, and they are in the process of preparing the entire ESG roadmap. And once that roadmap will be ready, and then we will decide on our ESG target, and that we will appropriately announce what's the target of the company on the ESG front. And I think it's 2 to 3 months away right now.
And sir, about this Industry 4 compliant, what is that exactly?
Industry 4.0 is basically mapping the efficiency of each plant, and with this being compliant, we will be able to understand what are the opportunities within the plant to ramp up production and capacity and improving capacity utilization. Right now, we are fully dependent on the operator, but after implementation of Industry 4.0, it will be basically automatic deliverables in terms of capacity of the machine and what has been delivered by the operator. So we can look at ramping of capacity with this.
It will improve efficiency as well as margins also going forward. Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. All the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rishikesh Oza from RoboCapital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. So my first question is, if you could please indicate what revenue growth and EBITDA margins we would be maintaining in FY23 and FY24?
I think FY23 or FY24, we are yet to budget our annual business plan, and we will wait for this quarter to be over before we comment on FY23.
Okay, no problem. And margin side, if you could comment?
Only after the business plan is made, we will be able to comment on the margins or anything.
Okay,
but
no
right
problem.
Now, whatever margins right now we are working with is already up, and you can see it. We are consistently maintaining 23% and above margins in the last 3 quarters. And I think we can safely say this trajectory is already there, and we are aiming for much higher margins going forward.
Okay, okay. And if you could share any outlook on debt going ahead, what debt numbers can we see going ahead?
Yeah, what I already have said in our opening remarks, we target to be at net debt free by the end of FY25. So we are looking to reduce the debt considering the market remain like this, and we continue to perform the way we are performing. We aim to be debt free by FY25.
Okay. Okay, and one more question, sir. Just wanted to confirm about MTech Auto. So that is already gone, right? Like the deal is completed with some other party. Just wanted to confirm.
We were not in the MTech Auto, never. We were with MTech Crankshaft, ACIL. MTech Auto was always with other party.
Okay, okay. So what's the status now on that?
Still pending NCLT, and it's taking time with the court. So there is no definite timeline right now, but we are hoping it should be done as early as possible.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Raghunandan from MK Global. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity. Congratulations on very strong set of numbers. Firstly, my question was on order wins. Spectacular order wins since March 2021. And if I just add up all the orders which the company has receiving, roughly the order indicate that more than 6 billion or 600 crore can get added to the top line. I mean, roughly would this be a correct calculation? And execution of the orders may commence in the coming quarters in both domestic and export markets. So just wanted to understand whether these orders will get fully translated into revenues by FY24.
Raghu, all the orders, partially the orders have already started getting converted in revenue, and 100% of the orders which we have already highlighted is going to get converted to revenue in FY23 itself. We will not need to wait till FY24 to get converted to orders.
Wonderful, sir. And sir, led by these order wins, how will this diversify the revenue mix of the company? Europe share seems to be increasing. Company has also won orders in South America, CIS countries. How do you see the export mix over the medium term, or what would you be happy about? You know, what kind of a mix would you want to have?
In terms of order percentage or outlook, we feel that company should, in FY23, be at a 50-50% exports and domestic. But our ultimate aim is to increase exports to 60% plus and domestic at 40%, which we feel that by FY24 we will be able to achieve that.
Wonderful, sir. And how would you see the geography mix?
I think North America is going to remain as the biggest portion of the cake, but equally big is going to be Europe. South America will continue to be about 8 to 10% of my export.
Got it, sir. And sir, like, if you can also talk about how you see the share of non-auto, panning out over the medium term. Because diversification has been one of your goal, so just wanted to understand the steps and the thought process.
In terms of non-auto, overall, in my export mix, it should be by FY23, we should be reaching around 15 to 20%. But overall, in terms of my balance sheet, it will be within it may be more than little bit of 20%, because we have added earth moving in a significant way in the domestic industry.
Got it, sir. And sir, like, on the debt reduction targets, congratulations on setting up this target of going to a debt-free company. So if you can give some clarity in terms of what would be the capex that would be required, say in FY23 or 24. I mean, directionally, whether it will be increasing or reducing compared to the current year. And also, based on the current capacity of the broadly, what will be the revenue potential?
Raghu, are you getting me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm hearing you.
Yeah. So on the capex plan, we have also stated we have a capex plan of only 50 to 75 crore each year for the next 2 years. That will take care of maintenance revenue or little bit balancing or utility equipment what we would like to add. So that for the next 2 years.
Got it, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I'll come back in the queue.
Thank you. A reminder to our participants, please press star and 1 if you wish to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Dhiral from Phillip Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir, and thanks for the opportunity. So for next year, sir, that we will be generating 600 crore more. Am I audible?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so for FY23, is it fair to assume that incrementally we will be generating 600 crore more revenue because of the order win which we have, win in last maybe 8 to 9 months, plus whatever will be the industry growth rate?
No, this entire 600 crore will be done in the next year because some orders are for a period of 2 years or 3 years. So it will be depending upon the quantity next year we need to supply, but all the orders we will going to start supplying in the next year.
Also, basically, these orders are going to get into commercial production in different quarters of this year, in FY23. So I think it is safely to say that this entire 600 crores will be in the top line in FY24, but partially each part of orders will be in commercial production in this year and will be in the balance sheet. And by end of financial year FY23, entire 600 crores will go into revenue.
Okay. And sir, again in the auto side, we are seeing fast transition towards EV. So even this may come even in the truck segment. So any threat to our business because of the this emergence of EV?
My entire exposure to EV is 0.8% of my balance sheet. In case EV is fully operational, I will get affected by only 0.8% of my balance sheet, which is pretty insignificant in terms of IC engines. We supply only 0.8% of the total sales is only to IC engines.
Okay. So that is good to hear that. And sir, we were also looking to enter into a passenger vehicle segment. So anything in pipeline for that?
I think you will need to wait for a couple of days or a month to hear some good news on passenger vehicle segment also.
Okay. And sir, lastly, so whatever capacity which we have right now, is it suffice for the order win which that we have, in last few months, or we will be incurring, capex for that?
No, we will not incur any additional capex to put this in commercial production. And like Lalita's answer to the previous question, everything, whatever in terms of capex has to be done, is included in the number 75 crores for the annualized budget of FY23.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. That's it from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Raghunandan from Emkay Global. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for the follow-up opportunity. The company has been improving its content per vehicle. So wanted to understand, how you see that triggers for improve the content. For instance, there were efforts happening from, like front axle components to front axle assembly. So just wanted to understand what are the steps here and how things will pan out over the next few years.
Raghu, if you see my top line for only domestic industry and put it across with what has happened in commercial vehicle or in LCV in domestic industry, you will be able to fully gather that the amount, the top line we are able to achieve is only because of the change in premix and improved content of vehicles has given us that top line. While vehicle production has not increased, we have been able to do significantly well quarter on quarter on domestic industry only because of improvement in content.
Got it, sir. And, how do you see the potential going forward?
So it is a continuous effort from us in terms of improving content and getting into more compensating components, basically getting into more assemblies, getting buyers to agree for buying in aggregates rather than buying in loose components. This is a continuous effort which we are working with the buyers of the OEMs, and this is going to plan out in every quarter. And I think, like I said in my first call of this year, we are in here for a long run, and we are, whatever industry does, we will be much ahead of the industry in terms of the growth in revenue of our top line.
Got it, sir. Sir, on the industry side, especially the Class 8 trucks, Recently there has been that infra bill in US which was passed, and within that some 110 billion is towards construction of roads and bridges. Are you hearing anything from your customers that given this strong spending which the government is doing over the next 5 years, it might lead to elongation of the CV upcycle, or further strengthening of the CV upcycle over the next 2-3 years?
I think, Raghu, CV cycle, nothing is going to happen in terms of drop in calendar year 22 or 23. What you are seeing right now is only because of semiconductor issue. Semiconductor issue, as is ongoing, gets resolved, you will see a sudden spurt in demand in Class 8. Right now, the backlogs of order are so huge that I don't think the OEMs are even prepared to take orders because of the commodity pricing changing every month. So everybody is on a wait and watch policy and waiting for the semiconductor issue to get resolved. And if, as and when you see that, you will be able to see the jump in demand also.
Got it, sir. And one question before I get back to the queue. In terms of the shift happening from components to assembly, or even the increasing in the machining mix.
Sorry, we are unable to hear you.
Your voice is not very clear. Request you to please use the handset.
Is it better now?
There's some buzzing sound also. Yes.
Yeah. Sir, I just wanted to better understand the drivers of margin expansion ahead. Would it be the improvement in the product mix where we are shifting from components to assemblies? Would it be the improvement in the machining ratio or increasing export mix which should drive margins? How do you see the trajectory and what are the triggers? And also if you can share what is the current machining mix and what is the target for you, say 1 year down the line?
Raghu, these are all basically premix of lot of things. While we are working on assemblies, we are working on aggregates with the customer, but cost saving is an opportunity which is always there in the organization, and we are aggressively working in terms of cost savings. As of now, we do close to around 80% plus components in fully finished or semi-finished condition to our customers in different stages. And our intention is that by FY23 end, we should be 95% in fully machined or semi-finished condition as per customer requirement. But margin expansion from here on, you will be able to see the significant cost savings which we are continuously doing in terms of bringing in automation in the system and getting away with the costly manpower in the plant. That is one of the biggest driver which is going on, and it is a continuous effort which will keep on improving our margins going forward.
Got it, sir. Thank you very much. I'll get back to the queue.
Thank you. A reminder to our participants, please press star and 1 if you wish to ask a question. The next question is from the line of VP Rajesh from Banyan Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Most of my questions have been answered. Just one question. In terms of the 600 crore order wins you had so far this year, how much of that will translate into revenue in fiscal year 24?
In fiscal year 24, 100% of those will be in the revenue from day one. In calendar FY23,
So-
partially you will see able to see this coming into serial production, because right now we are at some at sample stages and other things, field trials. So we expect by quarter on quarter this revenue is going to come into commercial production. But we are pretty confident by end of FY23, entire 100% of the order is going to be get into commercial production.
Okay. And then will it continue each year after that, or how will it work? Will it drop off
No,
in
there are
fiscal year 25 or 26?
Each contract we have mentioned the validity of the contract also. Some contracts are for 2 years, some are for 3 years, or some are for 5 years. So it depends on the validity of each contract, how many years it is going to continue.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhishek Jain from Dolat Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for follow-up opportunity. Your interest cost and net and debt is increasing continuously. There are some pressure on the working capital side as well because of the inventory buildup. So what is your plan to generate FCF and repayment of the debt? Are you also looking to raise equity capital?
Abhishek, we have got approval from the shareholders to raise fund to the extent of 500 crore, and we will let you know at appropriate time when we decide on that, and then we will announce it appropriately.
And what is the objective of raising this fund? Debt repayment or the capex?
Certainly, the fund, whatever will be raised, will be used for the repayment of debt. That will accelerate, if we raise the fund, it will accelerate our debt repayment period. Then the debt free, what we are targeted debt free by FY25, we will achieve it much earlier.
Okay. And sir, a bookkeeping question, how much is the gross block additions and capex for FY22?
FY23, we have a gross block addition of around 200 crore so far, or rather 185 crore.
Gross block addition is the 200 crores, right, sir?
Yeah, 185 crore for FY23 so far.
22. Okay.
Sorry, FY22, correct.
It's including CIWP, WP?
Yeah.
And how much capex for FY22?
I am not able to hear you, Abhishek, properly.
How much capex for FY22, sir?
23.
22, sir.
22 already I said we have done 185 crore and another 10-15 crore for the last quarter. It should be near 200 crore for the full year.
Okay. And how is the current debt situation, sir?
At present we are at around 1300 crore of debt.
Okay, sir. Thanks, sir. That's all from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aditya Sen from RoboCapital. Please go ahead.
Congratulations on the number, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. So you had a target to utilize 90% of your capacity by Q4 this year. So can you please throw some light on the present and going forward capacity utilizations?
Can you repeat your question, please?
You had a target to achieve 90% of your capacity utilization by Q4 this year, right? So can you please throw some light on the present and going forward capacity utilization?
No, we have right now achieved a 73% capacity utilization, and that is also because we have a very minuscule sale on our fabrication facility, which is going to increase quite significantly next year, and the capacity utilization are likely to remain at this level by Q4 this year. It's nearby.
Okay. Thank you. Got it.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Viral Shah from Enam Holdings. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, just one clarification. Did I understand it correctly that when you mean you want to become net debt free by FY25, it does not include any funds raised from the QIP? If we manage...
We are not talking about any fundraise right now because we have not decided on the fundraise. Okay. Without fundraise, we are targeting FY25 as zero debt company, and in case we raise funds, if at all, it will only accelerate our ambition to be net debt free before FY25 even.
Okay. And just to clarify, this would be short-term as well as long-term debt, right?
For me, it is a total debt, and total debt is going to be zero. That's what we are talking about.
Perfect. Thank you for this clarification.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mithul Shah from Reliance Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, Mithul, your line is unmuted. Please go ahead with the question.
Yeah, thank you for follow-up opportunity. Sir, as per our presentation, over 20% plus volume is or revenue is from others, that is non-auto. So can you give broader bifurcation or details on this non-auto side? What is includes and what percentage?
No, measure percentage is extremely difficult, but non-auto is basically oil and gas, tractors, and earth-moving equipments, all taken together, and railways. All this taken together is others basically.
Or can you give just ballpark for only oil and gas part? Is it sizable? It is like more than 50%?
It is sizable. I think it is close to around 10%.
Okay. And so secondly, on the utilization side, so in most of the past occasions, in case of ring rolling as well as forging, we have surpassed 100% or even in some cases which reach to 125% of the utilization also. For example, in Q1 22. So up to what percentage beyond 100%, like can we go to 130, 140% in which segment out of these three, ring rolling, forging and press?
Mezul, I think it is extremely difficult to predict that. It only depends. Right now, whatever Lalit is giving figures is on the mean value of utilization. And if at all we get everything on the top end of the utilization, I think then you can see more than 100% utilization in every places. But it is only premix which plays the part in terms of utilization improvement.
Okay. So, but can we go to like on a blended basis 110, 120 also if we get that type
if at all tomorrow we get 100% of our jobs or more than 100% of the job at the top end of the tonnage, obviously we can go at 110% or 120% also.
Okay.
Because our declared capacity is in the mean value.
Right. So there is always cushion up to like a 15-20% extra.
Yes. But that will only depend on how the economy shapes up, and if the demand is full on and we are back to those old days of demand, I think then yes, you can see this 100% plus capacity utilization in every single place.
So in other words, we may not require any major capacity expansion for next 2 or 3 years.
No, I think already Lalita said next 2 years capex is freezed and we are looking at close to around 75 crores approximately as capex spending in terms of next 2 years, FY23 and FY24. Our ambition is very, very clear. By FY25, we would like to be a net debt-free company, and until the debt is zero, we would not like to go for any major capex to improve the capacity.
Okay. And so lastly, on the domestic CV side, as you highlighted earlier that we have enough inventory built up on the export side because if whenever the semiconductor issue gets resolved, there could be a spurt. So what is the situation on the domestic CV side and what is the outlook for next 2-3 quarters?
I think domestic CV is pretty stable right now. We are seeing green shoots, but I don't think we are going to see anywhere demand back at 2018 levels, which was one of the highest in the industry. So I think it's going to be a stable, as of what we are doing right now is going to continue for next 3 quarters.
So Q4 would be also more or less similar to Q3, but will not be major increase.
No, I think in terms of RKFL's performance, I think we will do much better than the industry average. So I would not like to put a number to it. I think the whole year target is pretty much on track, and I think we should do better than what we had committed at the starting of the year.
Okay, sir. Thanks and all the best.
Thank you. A reminder to our participants, please press star and 1 if you wish to ask a question. Ladies and gentlemen, as there are no further questions from the participants, I would now like to hand the floor over to the management for their closing comments. Thank you, and over to you.
Rajesh, are you there?
Okay, I'm there.
Yeah, please. Please move on.
Yeah. thank you all. We take this opportunity to thank everybody who has joined our call. I hope that we have addressed all your queries. If you have any further information or queries that you want to address or understand from the management, you can get back to us, or you can get back to our industrial relation advisor as a strategic growth advisor. Thank you very much for joining the call today.